The Director General of the Ghana Education Service says the new uniforms introduced for junior high school students across the country is not compulsory. Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah, speaking on the AM show earlier, said those new uniforms will give students a psychological boost. On the new curriculum, the GES boss indicated it will, among other benefits, introduce pupils to financial literacy and equip them with critical thinking. Here are excerpts of his interview on the AM show a while ago.
Look at the current curriculum, which has been running for some time now. We should have ideally been changing or reviewing every 5 years, but it's been running for the past 12 years. So what it simply means that it is about time we looked at changing it. Now, it has to be changed because we want to be preparing students to be current with the growing times in their community, smaller community, larger community, and then the global community. So we need to always be catching up. So as frequently as possible, we need to change. Even if we're going to go the old one, we still needed to be revising to catch up with time. Now, we also look at the current one and then realize that it is more examination focused. It is more examination focused with limited attention on skills acquisition, ability to apply knowledge and things like that. And we felt that we need to do something about it. We also realized that we are in a fast-changing world, technology and all that, and we needed a kind of curriculum that reflects that kind of technology. Students should now start having a good sense of computers and ICT and things like that, so that they can catch up with the growing. So something like what we call digital literacy. We need to start making the students digitally literate. You know, there are issues about we talk a lot in the media, for example, about issues of abuse of national resources and things like that. I don't want to use the word, but the word that is so
commonly used.
Yes. So issues about patriotism, issues about financial literacy, cultural literacy, you know. We needed people to first know themselves. You don't want to wait till you finish to a certain level and then you start going to do some course in emotional intelligence and things like that, and you know, and become so theoretical. We want you to start knowing yourself. Self-awareness is key to us, and then once you have that self-awareness, you can move on to other things. And then national identity, you know, believing in yourself as a Ghanaian and wanting to support and help Ghana to move on. So we're looking at all these things together, and we felt the need for us to relook at the curriculum to bring it into
the word that you did.
GES boss, let's get practical on this new curriculum. I've been joined in the studio by William Yita. He is a trustee of the Accra Metro West Ghana National Association of Teachers. He's been teaching for 23 years, and he'll help us draw the differences between the curriculum we have seen and others we implemented in the past. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I just want to start by congratulating you. Teaching for 23 years, that's quite a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of people enter and they find their way out. But this new curriculum that we are seeing, you have gone through it.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, just skimmed through the pages. What have you noticed that makes this different from the previous one?
Yeah, at a glance, you can see that some of the subjects have been slashed down, especially from the KG, the lower level, let me take it that way. They used to do 7 courses or subjects. Now, with the new curriculum, they're supposed to be doing 4. And even with the 4, the concepts have also been reduced. The upper have not seen any reduction in the number of subjects, but the concepts have also reduced.
And when you say upper, what are you referring to? Please just help us understand.
That is from 4, P4 upward.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Their subjects remain the same, but there's a lot of integration over there, just as it is at the other side. That is the lower level from KG right up to P3. Yeah. We say all that glitters is not gold. This seems to be glittering, but as to whether it will become the kind of gold we are all yearning for or not, time will tell. And I say this because we've seen a lot of policies or curricula in the past that at a face value seem good, but at the end of the day, because the nation didn't have enough resources or did not prioritize education, the good things we saw in the policies never came to light.
What are the good things you're seeing in this policy that you're not too confident about full implementation across basic schools in the country?
Yeah, this new curriculum is coming up alongside the free education program, which is capital intensive. Now, the free SHS concept being the heartbeat of the president will not suffer as a result of any other policy. I mean, if you look at it in a way, you see that was a promise during a political campaign. This particular curriculum came as a result of the need to address certain challenges in the educational setup. So, new policies usually come up as a result of the need to either amend or address certain immediate challenges. Now, so it means that there's a deficiency in the current system. Those ones, we can say that they are the number of subjects being studied by these young chaps who find it difficult to comprehend. Aside that, the concepts were also many, and the time allotted for these subjects, was just too small. You do between 60 and 75 minutes per a double period, which is just woefully inadequate to tackle the concepts that can be found in the various subjects. But this time around, once government has decided to, or GES has decided to slash down the concepts so that there will be a lot of concentration and more time is supposed to be allotted now for impartation, we want to believe that if this is follows suit, then definitely we shall get to where we want to get as a nation.
Let's get more practical here. So when you look at some of the courses and the details there, you have the introduction of ICT into subject studying. So for example, history, the curriculum says you need to encourage the use of ICT in teaching history, so students can go online, they can read some materials, they can furnish themselves with more details. They talk about being more descriptive, so using Manila cards, writing birthdays, historical dates and all those kind of things, and taking field trips, going on excursions. I'm asking, this is maybe what you are referring to as the glitter, what is glittering.
Yeah.
But do you see, from where you sit as a teacher and over the years, teaching for 23 years, the ability to implement this fully?
It's about priorities. We have what we call, in economics, we have what we call the scale of preference. So it depends on where government want to place her priorities. If education is the priority, then we have to channel a chunk of our resources into education, because the manpower needs of the nation will drive the economy. And if a nation is lacking, the needed manpower resources, definitely that nation cannot develop, you see. So I want to believe that we are capable of implementing this to the latter, if only it becomes our priority. So we just need to prioritize and make sure that we channel most of our resources into implementing this. Now, I see this as a good thing just because of the fact that most of the subjects are integrated. Now, you can find, say, for instance, agric in every component of the subject, you know, which is very good because the industries, the 1D, 1F, etc., will need raw materials to run. Now, we may also need to achieve what we call economics of scale. Now, this economies of scale will mean that we'll be able to produce more than what we can consume. Therefore, we'll have enough to export for foreign exchange, which will also drive our economy. Now, the way the city is behaving currently is because of the fact that we are what? Import-driven economy. So when we begin to have these things on our own, we have sugar factories that are not running just because they don't have the raw materials. So if we inculcate this concept of agric into these children, they will grow up with it. And when they grow up with it, they will never depart from it.
There's an element or an introduction of a concept within the new curriculum that I want you to help us understand: differentiation. I spoke to one teacher who thinks that this is a good idea, where you kind of segment your class into different levels of comprehension, appreciation, and deal with groups. So, for example, A students, B students, if that is actually what the differentiation really means. With the classes you teach now, and the numbers you have to handle, how practical would this be for you if you have to do differentiation for every course, for every class?
Well, this may not be possible in some parts of the cities, because I was previously handling a class of 86. I'm currently handling a class of 62. Now imagine putting this even 62 into groups of even 10. How many groups will you have? And you need to do what we call the individual method of teaching. So it means that you have to move from desk to assist each group, and also examine what they are doing so that you can help them overcome the challenges that they are facing as a group. So if you have 6 groups and you are the only teacher, you move from group A, B, C, D. By the time you get to D, even if they give you 2 hours to handle that lesson, the period will have been over. You know, and we need to take note that that will not be the only lesson that you'll be having for that day. You see, now, in the situation where we are having subject teaching, or at the JSS level, where a teacher needs to leave the class at a particular time for another teacher to take over, in fact, it will be very difficult to implement some of these teaching methods. Yeah, we know them all, we were taught. But when you get to the ground, it's different. The interpretation is completely different. So the teachers sometimes have to use your own, techniques and tactics to handle the class in order not to be overcome by the situation. Because we were told that a normal class size should not exceed 35. You see, so if actually you went to the class and met 35, then it would be very easy for you to manage 35. But you go and meet 9600 in a class, and you are expected to do individual method of teaching, considering the strength of this children, which we call the individual differences. It's not easy, madam.
Now, when you take a good look at this module that has been, or curriculum that has been put out, you realize that per every subject there are some tasks. You know, some of them will say, let the pupils visit the chief's palace or a certain site in the area. Let them come back. Let them recount what they observed. You know, that's all in history and learning about the environment and where they come from. My question is that, do you know, or is there a mode of supervision to say that, okay, when we go to Accra West or Accra East, or any part of this country, we are sure that teachers are implementing these, spelled out tasks, or taking their students through these spelled out tasks per subject, so that we don't have students who are disadvantaged because of, a teacher who may be too lazy to go through the process with them? How do you ensure within, the whole education space that these things are actually followed?
Visiting the Chief Palace and other places falls under what we call the field trips. So, some of them may involve traveling, which would be capital intensive. What also makes the field trips very difficult for the teacher these days is that the procedure you have to follow to be granted permission to take a child out of the classroom to visit a place sometimes puts off the teacher.
But you're mandated.
Yes.
But you're mandated by the curriculum to do that.
Yeah. So the GES knows. So why do they have to let you go through stress just to help the children? Look, Master, some of these things, they have to reason, because we are all human beings. The teacher is not a slave in the classroom. So if we are there and we are supposed to implement the policies that you have brought to us, and you tie the thing to the extent that the teacher will suffer as a result of he or she wanting to implement what you brought, some teachers may not even venture into that territory at all. Because you write several letters, they will ask you to go and get the vehicle, the driver's license and the registered number of the vehicle. You must get the PTA to endorse at a meeting or whatever that, yes, I, Asimasi, so and so and so, they will endorse, stating their contact numbers and their names, that they have agreed that you should take their children to.
Does this apply for excursions? Because I know that some schools just organize excursions. So, it's Safe March, let's take the students here, let's take the pupils here. Are you talking about excursions, or you're talking about things that have been spelled out in the curriculum? Because if my understanding is right, this is a new introduction, or in previous curricula you had field trips there.
Field trips are not a new thing. In GES, yeah.
Okay.
They've been there since.
So what you're talking about is not a school deciding to organize their own excursion.
You see,
it is implementing what is in the curriculum.
Yes. We have different forms of field trips. Maybe if you want to visit the assemblyman, it's just a walking distance. That is a different thing altogether. But if you are to go to a place like, say, the museum and any other place which is a little bit far away from the school, you can't take the children out, even though it is part of the curriculum. You, the teacher, cannot just say that it is time for us to go to this place, so get up and let's go. You have to apply ahead of time and wait for permission to be granted before you take the children to
but is that
place.
not, I want to believe that is for the safety of the children. I'm sure there are previous incidents that may have influence. So are you calling for the total scrapping of the procedure?
No, they have to relax the rules.
Okay.
They should relax the rules, because they are making things very difficult for the teacher. So for so many years, you realize a particular school hasn't even gone out once. Meanwhile, when the children go out, they experience a lot of things. I remember one time we went to the airport to do something. When we were coming back, when the children saw this electronic notice, they thought it was some flat screen TVs. In fact, the way they were watching the thing, you see that these children are actually coming from a remote area. Why? It's not their fault. They don't go out, so they don't see those things. And they were surprised to see that you can put a TV in this rain, and that TV will not get spoiled, because their TV, if they take it out there and water gets inside, the TV will not work. You see? So what they see help them to comprehend what you teach them. And like you were saying, after the field trip, you have to come and ask them questions. They will take note. So when you come back, you'll be asking them questions to see what they were able to discover and what they comprehended as a result of that field trip.
It's unfortunate we're quickly running out of time here. But in your previous dealings with the students following the curriculum or the curricula over the years, was there any form of supervision? Was there any rep from the GS or anybody within the education setup who said, look, I want to ensure that you're doing the right thing? Did they ever come to supervise you?
They come. They also complain of resources. Previously, they used to have motorbikes, and they were also given maintenance allowances to maintain these bikes. With time, this.
When was the last time you had someone supervising what you were teaching?
Oh, just even last term.
Is it because you're in Accra?
Well, I can't tell, but it is their responsibility to supervise the teacher, because lack of supervision will lead to a different thing altogether. If the teacher is there and the teacher knows that nobody will ever come here, the teacher can even go to bed and still go and take the salary. But if you know that they will come and check your exercises, they will check the children's exercises to see how many you've done so far. They will check the attendance register to see whether you've been regular at school and punctual. You will definitely do the right thing.
Mr. Ita, let's end with this. Have you been trained? Have you been taken through the curriculum, the introduction of some of these new elements that some feel that it's just a copy and paste of what's in, other countries in Europe and all that? But it's okay. We can give it a try. Have you been trained? Do you have any hands-on, experience with what has been spelled out in the curriculum?
This current one?
Yes.
It has not yet been rolled out. We are all just reading the soft copy of this. Actually, I think, you see, it has a little bit of political connotation. Every policy implemented by any government will definitely always have that political connotation. So they will come out quickly to announce that they have something good for the people, to excite the people, even before they get into the boardroom to work on.
So you heard this on TV?
We heard it
like
on
everybody
TV.
else?
We also read it from the social media. And this thing is actually supposed to be rolled out next semester.
In September?
Next September. Yeah, that is next academic year.
Yeah.
So they have enough time to work on this to make it practical. But as to whether we've been trained, in fact, since the thing has not been rolled out, no teacher has been trained yet to tackle these new concepts. But most of them are not entirely new.
Is 5 months enough time for you? Do you think? You've been teaching for 23 years, 5 months. If, for example, if they say we're going to start next month till September, you think that's enough time?
To train the teachers to be able
to go through this? Or do you need training at all? Do you think you need training
definitely.
at all?
Every teacher, no matter how good you are, with time a teacher can decay, because we are talking about a contemporary teacher here. Yes, so you need to always be brought to speed. So every teacher, there's no teacher who will ever tell you that, oh, as for me, I know to myself that I don't need any training. That teacher will just be deceiving himself or herself. So we all need training, because at least in every training session, you will pick up 1 or 2 things that will go and then boost your reservoir.
Thank you very much for your time. It's been an interesting conversation. William Yita is a trustee of the Accra Metro West Ghana National Association of Teachers. We've been talking about the new curriculum, but coming up shortly in business, the Securities and Exchange Commission directs Gold Coast Fund Management to cease collection or receipts of new funds from the public. Details shortly.